Welcome everybody back to another Helm to Tower podcast. We're back already. I know we're not in the dregs days of no news, Destiny news to talk about. So we got some stuff to talk about. So we're already back because we had the first dev stream from Bungie about Into the Light. So we're talking about all that. I of course am Mike Burgess. Hello, and I'm here as always with Auri O'Neill.
Hi.
We're going to talk Destiny news and updates and other things like that. Again, the dev streams are happening. They're doing dev streams for Into the Light. We had the first one, which showed off kind of the new mode we're going to get. Again, we're going to talk about all that. But first, I want to know, like, if you've been playing any Destiny this week. I think I saw rumblings of a dungeon run that literally just finished. How did that go?
It's in progress. We've suspended, as you can imagine, a 2-person goes.
Oh, there's only 2 of you. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's gonna take like 16 to 23 hours. No, we got through the second boss on our second try, and it only took us 4 damage phases.
Nice.
So,
oh yeah.
Got to try out the new sword, the Slammer, which was pretty good. I mean,
yeah,
we wiped at half health one point. We both had I had 3.3 and Jake had 3.8k damage or million damage. So
nice. Yeah, I saw the Asdacross did a damage test for the swords, and it's high up there, but it still does not hit.
It's not the king. Yeah.
Funny enough, Falling Guillotine and
really?
Yeah, and Lament are still better than it, but it's still eclipses a lot of things. One of the other ones is
Bequest.
Yeah, the big thing was Bequest and swords that can get surrounded. If you if you have a scenario where you can get surrounded procced, they are crazy good. But that's a situational thing where it seems like since those swords are just generally more consistent and you can proc those, I guess a little easier in some ways, but they seem like they're all they kind of equal out. But it seems like in a scenario they had, he was damage testing the first boss in Warlord's Ruin was when he was trying it on, so it made more sense there to see what it could do. So it seems good. I haven't messed around with it in a DPS sense, but I had a different one that was Cold Steel Chain Reaction. It was one of the roles I got, which is very fun to use because free stuff, slow stuff, free stuff, and then it melts dudes. And I'm realizing how good it would be for if we have another season with one of those really good sword artifact mods that we can weaken enemies and that thing already crushes overload champions super well, because it's you just get one or two slices, and it instantly stuns it, and then you can just spin into them and it just wrecks them. It's pretty cool. So cool.
So I mean, part of that, you mean Cam ran GMs on Tuesday?
Yeah, we did Tuesday, and I ran with, and I was gonna say I know I did. I ran with some clanmates as well. We did one quick run to just get some drops, and then we ran it again, and then got the good rolls. So
just want to throw it out there. Fuck the corrupted. Just throwing it out there, and we can move on. Birthplace of the Vile rips. Still, that's my favorite GM boss room probably of all time. Just because it's the right threaded needle of challenge for me of got to stay on top of things, got to keep your eyes open, got to be looking and communicating, but it's not miserable. It's what the other Scorn and Strike wishes the boss room could have been.
Sure. Yeah. I know what you mean. Yeah. I think some of that just comes from having run so many GMs at this point. It's once you're in that mode, I still think Corrupted was not that bad because I did that with a different group. It was me and who was it? It was me, Jake, and Ren. We did some GMs as well. And we did Corrupted, and we just kind of we got through it fine enough. Because it is the ogre
warm up time, maybe. Because the last thing I had done was us doing Crota. We did Crota over the weekend after I think we podcasted. Got Necrochasm, which is exciting.
Finally.
You and I both. Then we all realized at the same time, like, oh shit, we have to like do a quest for the catalyst.
Yeah,
so I have it like finished, but I need to do the time trials or whatever.
Yeah, it's like plates. You gotta like find some plates, and then that summons some guys. You gotta kill sword guys super fast or something like that.
Which doesn't seem terrible, but we'll get it done.
Yeah.
And then I grinded out some guardian game stuff. Got the skimmer. Right? That's what it's called. Which is great. I love it. It's the best. It's very fun.
Yeah.
And then our friend Jake and I, we were running Ghost of the Deep because we both need it for the moments of triumph, and just two of us were available, so that's what we did. And Jake and I we did a 2-person duality run like way back when. It was like the drop that I got the sword on, the exotic sword at the end. So we basically got to the final boss, and we had 30 minutes before I had to jump on for this. So I was like, we're not gonna have enough time to do that.
Yeah, to fight that boss.
What a fucking miserable thing to have to admit to yourself. Like, oh, we have 30 minutes. That's not enough time to do this encounter in a dungeon.
It's not. Yes, there's not too many. There's not too many encounters that you can do that with. I feel like. Well, at least with like the more like current dungeons, I feel like where like lower ones
has a long one too.
Yeah, like Warlord Ruin. I don't think you could really do any of those encounters. Probably the first boss, like you probably could do in like 30 minutes. But like
Spire, you might be able to just because the rounds are so short. Obviously, ammo is going to be tricky, but like you can get to damage really quickly.
If you're good with shooting the things, you can get to it pretty fast. The earlier one, I mean, like obviously the earlier you get, you definitely can.
Like prophecy,
you can burn. Easy. Prophecy you can probably finish in 30 minutes if you're like
we did like a 46-minute run last week. So
like even the other ones like Scarlet you could probably do pretty fast. Scarlet Keep, or it's Scarlet Keep, but
Harbinger, whatever.
I forget what it's called.
Yeah, it was the other moon activity.
But the moon dungeon you could probably do.
Pit of Heresy
somewhere
in there.
Right, yeah, Pit of Heresy.
Shattered Throne. You probably couldn't just because it takes so long to get around. Right?
Yeah,
it's just such a big area.
Yeah,
that first encounter takes forever.
Yeah, it's just a lot of big areas in that one. But that Ghost is still a tough. Is definitely a tougher one of the newer ones, the more recent ones for sure.
Yep. So pray that I get the exotic when I do that final boss after this. Please, finally, please.
Finally get it. Yeah, I was gonna say I got that. I don't remember how I got it, but I know we got it.
I think I was with you when you got it.
Yeah. Oh no, I remember what it was. It was me, Nicole, and Jake. And me and Nicole both got it, and
Jake got it.
And then we just sat there and like shot it, like equipped it, and just kept shooting them with it in the boss room. That's right, I remember that again.
Oh, here's Woven Mail though.
Yeah,
good for you,
thanks,
right?
Thanks. Yeah, pretty funny.
Yeah, and then my birthday is next weekend. I have a tradition now for the last couple of years to do a birthday raid, which has been super fun. We break out the party. Confetti thing from Dares of Eternity, the mods that makes explosions or headshots make party noises and confetti. I have a theme this year. Last year it was wear the ugliest armor that you can come up with, and this year I'm calling it Groot of Nightmares because I'm funny and fun and a fun person to play Destiny with, where everyone's gonna make themselves look like trees because of puns.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's pretty much only one armor set you can make yourself like a tree with at this point. I feel like,
but I want people to get creative with it. That's the challenge.
Right.
I started working on mine, and I'm very excited. It's gonna be very dumb and fun and chill. So
yeah, it'll be fun. If we can get the group together for that, that'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, we just need one more person, so hopefully we'll be fine.
Yeah. But yeah, that was it. Yeah, I was gonna say, like, definitely a little bit more Destiny playing, or not. Yeah, just like kind of like shoring up those last couple things with like GMs to get the sword and doing that. Raid was nice. That's kind of.
I did all the wish quests as well this week, which were very chill.
Yeah, they ended up not being as bad as I thought they were either when I did them a little while ago. But yeah, they just wrapping the few things up here before we get into the light here in like 2-3 weeks. Because we have this. We have two more dev streams. One this coming week, the probably the day, like after the day after you hear this podcast, so you'll be stream 2. Then stream
we'll hear about the guns. Apparently,
stream 2. The final stream will be on April 2nd and then April 9th. Yep. So basically 3 weeks. We'll have that. We'll have Into the Light, which again they kind of teased last week. We got the tease of the tease, and then this week we got the first developer live stream, which showed off what's the kind of the big draw of the event, which is Onslaught. And that's right, everybody. We're finally getting
Horde mode.
Horde mode. Destiny's getting Horde mode after many years of people asking and hoping for something like this. It's coming to the game, and it's what you expect from a Horde mode. You kill enemies, you get scrap. And then they also can drop the little battery units, and then you have this thing you are defending. You can throw the batteries in it. Works very similarly to that the Black Armory like missions, and they were like forges, like that aspect of it. But other than that, like you get the scrap, and there's like literally placements in the map that you can go around, and you can place turrets and defenses and decoys and all kinds of stuff. And you can level them up with the scrap, and you can go for, I think they said there's a playlist version, which is very interesting. And that'll be 10 waves. And then there's a more challenging version. I think they said it's like a standard version and then like a challenge or legend version. Those will be like, you have to like group up to go do. And those will be up to 50 waves. So like a full 50 wave Horde mode that they're doing. That's really cool. So that's kind of what
every 10 waves, right?
Yeah, there's like some kind of little like, I think there's like a boss thing that pops up. I don't know if it's every 10 waves. I don't remember exactly what they said, but yeah,
it's like the coil basically.
But yeah, it ramps up in difficulty as you go through it. I believe they said in like the later version, you'll hit a point in it. Well, first off, I think it's like if all of you wipe, you're just done. I think that's how it works. And then
you get kicked to orbit.
You get kicked to orbit, but in the later waves, I think you get like revives or something like that, or like limited revives or something like that. That's like in the harder versions. That seemed to be
the implication. And champions do show up after wave 10 in the harder version,
right?
In like or the standard 50 wave version. So.
So yeah, and it seems like there will be some aspects to that. So I have. This was all like from the information we got generally from the dev stream, so that you can go. I think they have that archived on like their Destiny channel. If you want to go, just go watch it, or if you haven't watched it already. But I have the TWAB here that dropped this week, and the TWAB generally just kind of did like a little kind of like info dump of like how things work exactly. So I'm just going to read some of that to kind of give you like a general idea as well. But yeah, introducing Onslaught. It's a new PvE wave-based activity, defense activity. I think is how they did it. Defending Last City. It's gonna be taking place. They showed it in basically what is a kind of modified version of one of the PvP maps. I think it's Midtown. Do I know a PvP map now? Oh crap! I knew a name. But yeah,
crushed it.
But yeah, they basically like kind of took out chunks of that map and like made it all like pyramid-fied, because the whole conceit is like the Witness kind of doing their last bit to stop us from getting the pyramid, is sending a bunch of forces into the city, and like we're getting attacked more or less. And it seems like there will be like a little bit more story than that, but that's kind of like just the general kind of basic setup they gave us so far. And Shax will be the vendor as well, which is interesting.
Just cool.
Yeah, which is cool. Yeah. So we'll see if we get any more kind of story or dialogue stuff from him through this. That'd be pretty cool. But yeah, basically, yeah, like I said, you're defending this advanced defense unit, the ADU, from attacking enemy waves. Every so often, like one of the waves will actually send you onto a pyramid ship, apparently, and there'll be
Every
some
fifth wave.
yeah, and there'll be some kind of enemy boss that you have to defeat. And they showed the different kind. There's like multiple different kinds of bosses that can be in those ships. Like they showed one that was like a big shrieker. They showed one where it was like a witch, but she had like an immunity shield, and you straight up had to like grab like the rifts from the rift PvP mode and like go find them in the arena and take them to spot and dunk them into these spots to break her shield. And I think it even does like damage to her and stuff too. So like that's like a whole thing as well. So there'll be like rotating things, and then like that is essentially like a full completion of that, and then you'll essentially do that, and then you'll be sent back to the map, and then you'll kind of reset and set up a new mode.
Yeah, so like at 5 waves, you go to the pyramid ship to do. They showed the rift thing a lot, where it's like you going down a tunnel to do the rift thing. I think there were other things you could do with the 5th wave, and then every 10 waves is a boss.
Right. Yeah.
So you're jumping around quite a bit, which I like. I appreciate that. I think that'll keep things feeling a little frenetic.
Yeah, I like that too. Just like the breakup of just not standing next to this thing the whole time, or they said there would be other little like mini things that can pop up during the waves that would like kind of force you to like want to move out and kind of like seek out stuff. And yeah, there will be like tormentors or like bigger boss type enemies that'll kind of show up in the actual defending of stuff that you'll kind of want to move around for. And yeah, like it's going to be really interesting just to see this mode kind of take shape and see what people think about it, because like they did make a sense of like, yeah, like there's not a lot of activities. I know it's weird to say that, like, you know, there's a lot of like things in strikes where like we're defending a zone or like we have to go to these points and kind of sort of defend the points or whatever. Mm-hmm. But like, you know, there is a lot more movement in Destiny encounters and Destiny stuff these days. So like having actual defend points and like extended defense activity like is interesting. And I kind of am curious like how some of like certain weapons will kind of rise to the top of that. And like you think of like, oh wow, like they did do a lot of buffs to grenade launchers. Anarchy could be really cool in this mode. Yeah. Like the strand bow they introduced earlier this season, Wishkeeper, could be really cool. I've already used it like with a lot of fun in GMs and stuff. So like thinking that in a defense mode, it could be really interesting. You know, different class types could be a lot more interesting. Like obviously like will still be useful, but like having other ways to like being a Titan and like dropping a bubble on the ADU, like will that be like useful in any way, shape, or form, or like being other classes and other things like that, like how that could like change up and be like an interesting way to like engage with Destiny in a different way, like could be really cool.
And Roman Supers, I feel like they shine in a weird way. Like I feel like they shine really well in GMs, right? Where it's like, okay, we need to take care of this right now. And we need to make orbs for the team or whatever, or like certain parts of raid encounters. So like this is a similar thing where it's like, you know, there's 2 fallen bosses spawn. And it's like, okay, we could use like Hammer of Soul right here would be good just to generate orbs, kind of keep the grind going in a way, while also taking out these big enemies.
Yeah. I'm really curious how it'll like shake up that general feeling of like, okay, what's like a good loadout to like bring into this mode rather than like it being like just like my GM builds or whatever, or like end game raid builds. Like I feel like there's like a potential that like I'm sure like most of the things that are already really good in Destiny will be fine in this mode. But like, are there ways to like make interesting builds around this mode specifically that could be really fun?
Yeah, so. And that's like one of the best parts about the coil, in my opinion, is like the build that can escalate well with challenge, and also like a thing I really like doing in the coil is like every wave or every set just switching to a different loadout just to mix it up. And this feels like something that could fill the same space of like, okay, well, I did strand for the first 10 waves. Let me just do stasis for the next 10 waves or whatever.
Yeah. For sure. And like they even mentioned that in the stream of, it was like, this is a great way to complete bounties and do this or that. And I'm like, complete catalysts and stuff. And I was like, okay, cool. Yeah. That's an interesting thing you say there, Bungie. And then also referring to a ritual playlist version of Onslaught as well. Like this makes it really do sound like this is a permanent mode. It's not a mode that is going away. And they also like, said there would be more maps. Because again, well, in the dev stream, we only just saw that Midtown PvP map used. Like the AEDU itself like moves into different areas of the map, so it's not just always in that one spot. And I think they even said like in the harder versions, that thing will move around more actively than it did in that showcase, where I think they just showed like the playlist version of it. I'm guessing in that stream. Not really like the how much harder tiers, but I could be wrong on what they showed. I think they just showed different ones.
I think they showed the normal 50 wave one.
Okay.
As opposed to the legend 50 wave one, and it moved every 10 waves. So
got it.
So when you come back from killing the boss. But yeah, they did up to like wave 35, and that was like 48 minutes also.
Yeah. So I mean, it seems like it's definitely a big thing to get other folks.
It's gonna be like hour 20, hour 30, probably for a full set.
And like they mentioned, it is it's 3-player activity, so it's not like a full group of people. It's
probably best for difficulty,
Yeah, exactly. And I think because if it was 6 people in that PvP map, that would be a lot.
Yeah.
And on top of that, the like having that separation where I know I saw some people being like, well, why isn't just the full thing in the playlist? And it's like, because like how would that work? Like trying to have people who are matchmaking into like wave like 45 of this random thing or other things like that, or like
15 minute
said
version.
Like
that makes sense.
Yes, that makes sense, as just like you're just gonna find that in a playlist node and join that, and then you can do them, and then you can do the exactly, just like play 10 waves, play the basic mode, get a couple drops of whatever weapons, and then hop out, and then like when you want to
rip your hair out at certain points, and
then like when you want to do like all right, I want to do this harder version, or like the try and do all 50 waves in standard, or go right to the legend version with like 2 people, like a full squad of people, or LFG or whatever, and see whatever rewards comes out of doing that to higher difficulty. Could be really fun as well. So like I like that split there. But yeah, hearing that this is a permanent mode, hearing that it is in the ritual playlist, aka rituals, capital R, aka alongside, they're positioning this, at least for me personally, this is how I'm seeing it. They're positioning this as like it is alongside Strikes, Crucible, and Gambit.
Mm-hmm.
So like,
this is kind of what we've been talking about.
Of like, hey, it would be really cool if there was like a 4th pillar of these ritual activities. This is like a PvE activity, so I think they are like kind of maybe encapsulated in Strikes, in Battlegrounds, or whatever. I think
it's more like a Gambit replacement, to be quite honest.
Yes, that's personally what I would prefer it to be. Frankly, at this point of just like, I think what I mean by that ultimately is like, if they're going to include it in this ritual group and call and like put a playlist for this mode in the ritual playlists, like I really hope this has not become like a Dares of Eternity scenario where like a year from now we're through a bunch of episodes and we just go like, oh yeah, Onslaught, whatever they did with that, like I'm hoping they at least like give us something with it, like I think they said there's modifiers on it, so I'm curious, like make some more dynamic modifiers, make like maybe like refresh the weapons, or like add a weapon or 2 into that playlist every so often. I get it's like tough to like, it doesn't have to be maybe as frequent as the updates to Strikes and Crucibles every episode or season or whatever. I can live with that, but just like, I don't want to be in a scenario where we're like, fast forward to now we're at the end of whatever episode we're at this point a year from now, and this thing has just kind of not been touched again, and it's just kind of the same thing again. Like, I hope it's if they're
the Gambit problem.
The Gambit problem, right? If like they want to call this a ritual thing, like I hope they know what that means by putting that in this place, and like it being a mode that's like not just left to be what it is as it has been forever.
Yeah, my hope is kind of like the way I'm seeing it right now, and this is just my perspective, so this could obviously, I could be completely wrong, but like
right.
This reads to me like a 1.0 version of this activity that will be here until the final shape comes out, and for sure beyond it. Like, I don't think it's going to go away, but like when it becomes that pillar, which I don't think it will be right out the gate,
right?
And it's good for them to want to, like, you know, it's free to play, so it's going to have like that big player pool for them to test and see what people like and what people don't like.
Right.
I would want the full featured playlist version of this. I know it will be a playlist, but the kind of future playlist version, the 2.0 version of Onslaught, to be more modular in that, like, we can see loot added to it more regularly. Potentially, like, completing the legend version would get you adept loot, or adept versions of some of those guns, and maybe something more like the storefront aspect of the coil, where you can spend scrap on upgrades. Maybe those are different defense units per map. Like, those could be different, and that could still be true. We haven't seen other maps yet,
right?
But true. Like, also, like, spend my scrap on more solar damage, or spend my scrap on faster recharging class ability. Like, incorporate some of those things that I really like about the coil to help give it the coil flavor.
Yeah, totally.
And like, even stuff like that they've been doing with Crucible, of like, oh, you can spend 100 scrap and get the Reaper Scythe for a wave, and like have an extra powerful relic weapon for a little bit, or you know, things like that.
Yes, totally. Like, that'd be super cool. Even if it's just like some kind, maybe again, like, in this hopeful future we both have of this mode like flourishing into like a proper thing that they kind of regularly update. Like, even like having something like a mini artifact thing at shacks, and it's like, hey, you complete certain amounts of waves, or like you completed your 10 waves and you get whatever from that, and you can go take that to shacks.
Yeah,
the vendor version of shacks for this mode, and he has upgrades that you can get for like that episode, or yeah, because we have episodes at this point, but like for this episode, and it's like a lot of things you're describing. So like, hey, now for this episode, like, you know, you can go just have this thing where it'll randomly unlock the scythe to pick up in your runs of this, or, you know, you can get these power-ups to randomly appear and stuff in the map or something like that when you have this like perk active on shacks or whatever. Like, that'd be really cool. A lot of cool ways to do it.
And I'm just thinking of like more fun things they could do, like the things I wanted them to do with Gambit forever. Like, you know, glowing enemies like the moat enemies in Gambit, that if you kill, it's like it drops like a power up that you get for 5 waves. That's like your precision headshots, while it's like effectively an artifact perk. Your precision headshots while radiant will cause ignitions or something like that. Like,
right.
Some things like that you can kind of more dynamically get in a match. Like, maybe you won't see that every round, or maybe it's different if you're on a different map or whatever. Right. Like,
totally,
there's so much room for a mode like this to thrive on all of the lessons they've learned through seasons. And I hope we can live in that future.
Yeah, me too.
The future of Destiny 100%. Is in such a weird spot right now. Just in general.
Just so. Generally, we like, they don't, and like clearly they just need to do, like, I think they're just in a mode now where, like, as we get past final, like, we're gonna have final shape, and that's gonna be a big moment for the series. I think regardless of how good we perceive it, or even like the larger Destiny community perceives it, like, there's just gonna be this is gonna be an endpoint for a lot of people, and they're just gonna be off and doing whatever. So at that point, like, I think they really just need to say, like,
let's try some shit.
Let's try some shit. Like, not everything is going to be the thing that pulls a whole bunch of new people in at once to hopefully keep playing our game, and so we can keep doing stuff with it. And like, let's just like throw a bunch of shit at the wall and like, you know, updates to this mode or updates to like other things, and just like I think that's like what they need to do, and like that's at least what I'm hoping to see is them just like, yeah, just get crazy with it, throw out some ideas for modes, do some crazier stuff, you know, refresh a lot of the things that have been kind of just been laying a little bit decayed for a while. Like, and we're seeing some of that, like, you know, a lot of like the big PvP shifts they've done recently. And I know there's like maps coming for PvP, but I think like strikes and the Vanguard stuff, I think needs that kind of next big time, for personally at least. And then like obviously like, yeah, like I don't know, man. Gambit can just, I don't know, like, it's I know they only have so much stuff.
Yeah, if they're done with it, like internally, if they're like not as passionate about what they want to do with it, I think it's okay to move on from it and be like, all right, we're gonna keep this in for the next year, and then afterwards we're gonna take it out, and maybe we'll bring it back every now and again for kind of nostalgic, like, hey, you know, it's here for an episode or here for a couple of weeks to play and have fun. But it's like, we were pulling that away so the player base isn't being cannibalized anymore. Yeah, I mean, like, what do people hate universally about Gambit? Generally, like if you're a more casual player, it's like the PvP aspect of it. Like it's fun to do waves and stuff of enemies and get power ups and like kind of compete in that way. But you can do that in something like a Horde mode, maybe a little bit smoother, and that's like easier for new players to jump into, right?
Yeah. Totally.
Whereas like Gambit, it's like if you don't know what to do in Gambit, you're like absolutely not going to have a good time.
You don't know what to do, and you're like a new player who has like maybe like one or two purple weapons, the starting weapons you get from like the intro scene, and you got some person in here with like you know, Gallahorn or like some other insane build or other thing that's like 4,000 hours just going, suck it, nerd.
Yeah,
and they're just like, what the fuck just happened?
Xenophage 2 shot from across the map for the third time.
They're just like, it's like the whole issue they brought with PvP of like I don't know, like slowing it down is not the term, but like making it so it's a more noticeable, like what is killing you or what's happening to you in those moments. Like that's kind of like one of their goals, the PvP, and like I feel like Gambit, that's just so much harder to do.
Yeah,
because you also obviously have like the person invading with whatever they're gonna have at any given moment. Plus, like
they're always going to have heavy ammo,
the actual PvE enemies. Yeah, exactly. And they're just like, there's all these factors going on with Gambit to the point where it's just like, I don't know.
Like you think about them and how hard they had to nerf special ammo to make PvP not like so one-shotty.
Yeah.
Which, you know, I know a lot of people feel really shitty about that. Like, or some, not a lot of people. Some people have like strong opinions about how that has like bled into double primary and team shooting, right? Like, those are the types of issues that are arising in people's minds. But like, there is just no avoiding that in Gambit. It's just snipers. Like, if they took heavy ammo out of that situation, you know, people are just going to use sniper rifles or something like that, right? Like, There's no clean solution.
Or it's just like, it's like no clean solution, and like the solution would be like limit the ammo of these weapons entirely, and then like that would like then like but then you like, how are you going to fight all of these like super tanky enemies that you need to kill for things in this mode? Like then you're just going to make the enemies super weak. Like I don't like there's just like there's like no one like again, like they had to be pretty surgical with PvP to like get all of these things, and it's like, is it really worth it to do that for Gambit? I just don't know. I just don't think it is. It's like, it feels like it's pretty clear like how little they've done. They already kind of feel that way in some respects.
They took big swings last year, right? Like in that year, the Witch Queen, where they're like, all right, we're gonna try these Gambit Labs modes. We're gonna change how heavy ammo works in this mode. Like the whole ammo crate system was like new that year. And like in some ways it worked, in some ways it just kind of perpetuated the issues that were already there. So it's like they did what they're doing right now with PvP. And there wasn't a Gambit strike team. You know? There wasn't a group making 3 new Gambit maps, that's for fucking sure. If anything, they were still burning away the old ones that they got rid of.
Pretty much. So,
yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm okay with it in terms of just like we've talked about Gambit. I've talked down Gambit plenty of times on this podcast
Same.
at this point. So like
Yeah.
I think it's just that overall idea we were just talking about of just we're gonna be entering a new era of Destiny.
Sunset Gambit.
It's okay to just like have these things that were like, this was an era of Destiny. We're gonna start a new era of Destiny. That means getting rid of some of the old stuff, and that's okay. Like it's okay, and just like if like one of those things is Gambit and it just has to go, and like that's fine. I can live with
Drifter I'm really excited to hear like the Shaxx commentary tracks in Onslaught, but like if this is Onslaught 1.0 and then whatever the pillar version of it is Onslaught 2.0 and Gambit's gone in that universe, like, make the Drifter the guy there. Like I think that would be totally
just
fine.
have him just come in and talk and hang out and just say Drifter stuff, and like they'll still have him anyway. They've done it for plenty of the story stuff over like seasons over the past years to just have a Drifter like hang out and just be like, hey, what's up? I'm here. Where it makes sense, and then he shows up and has a good
Bring
time.
a sword.
Yeah, and that's fine. Like that's
say the
like,
meme.
That's all we need. Like this is like I can live with not having him around because Gambit's not around as much.
Yeah. And there's other things they could do, or like another fourth pillar, like replace Gambit with something completely new that is an Onslaught as well. Like,
sure.
I know that might be asking a lot.
Yeah, or
but
very very far off. Yeah.
We're in that space, like you and I both said, like time to try some shit. It's time to like throw some spaghetti against the wall and see what sticks.
Yep, 100%. But yeah, that's our hopes for Onslaught, and
I'm excited to play it. Like
I am
when
too.
We were in our chat, like we were like, hey, hell yeah, I'm like looking forward to grouping up with you guys to play this.
Yeah, it's super fun, and like it seems like they're pulling out at least. We have not seen we mentioned it. I think you mentioned at the top of the episode list. The week we're in, they're having a second dev stream. They're going to show off what weapons we're going to see
in a new social space.
And a new social space. I predicted we weren't going to get a Horde mode, and I ended up being wrong.
Yeah, but like we brought it up. We theoretic because you guys brought up the tripwires and shit. And I was like, "There's no way this is anything." It was exactly what you guys said it could be.
Yeah, and it turned out being the thing. To be fair, I guess like in my brain, I was thinking a little bit grander, not to like ho hum them, not to be the guy that's like, oh, reused assets, blah. But like I mean, granted, I still, even with reused assets, I thought it was just gonna be like if they did a Horde mode, it would be that like Scourge of the Past, like boss arena that they've used a couple times for other modes, and they used it for like Splicer for like a big activity, and then it was the Elixir Quarter another season, I think.
Yeah.
Like I thought it was just going to be like that arena, and like you'd have to like, defend stuff as stuff was flooding in through there. Like that's what I was kind of expecting. So to see it was just like a PvP map reused, and they did say there's going to be other maps used, but I'm assuming from that it'll probably just be other PvP maps also just kind of repurposed, which I'm totally cool with that. Like that's I think it works.
Smart.
I think it works, and like again, if it is going to be a mode that they use, they kind of continue to update, it would make sense for them to go like, oh yeah, we're gonna probably keep making PvP maps, and if we're gonna update this mode, then we can use those maps, like, and to make those modes
coming in May. So
yeah, totally. I'm cool with that. If that's like kind of what they're thinking about it for like the long term, I'm cool with that.
Agreed.
But yeah, they did even though they didn't give us all the show us all the weapons directly, they definitely outright shown some in the stream and like teased some in some artwork again. The aforementioned Midnight Coup is real. It is coming back as one of these new weapons. They were using it in the dev stream. The guy who's playing was just using it. Like he even braked a moment and went into his like character menu and straight up just saw Midnight Coup in his hand. He saw the menu, everything. It can roll Firefly now, which is pretty cool.
Firefly and Kinetic Tremors, I think, together, which is pretty neat.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. I think like the origin trait was like indomitability, I think is what it was.
I didn't see that.
But we didn't see like what it actually does. But I think that was just the name of it. in the TWAB they refer to these as the brave weapons. That's what they're kind
Which is
of
cool.
brave arsenal weapons. That's what they refer to them as. And I think in the stream they had like a narrative guy on there, and he basically just said like these were sort of like banned weapons that Shaxx like banned in the Crucible originally, and it was like his own kind of private thing of what these were. So now they actually bring him back for this big moment. And we saw again Midnight Coup was one. We saw another version of Hung Jury in the streams as well. Like it was one of the loot drops from some of the moments in there. So there's some kind of updated version of that as well. And then they put out a screenshot in this TWAB, which very clearly has a hunter in the center. You can see they have they're holding a hand cannon. There's another a popular PvP hand cannon called Luna's Howl. That was like an early, I believe it was like post Forsaken when they were doing like pinnacle drops,
pinnacle PvP weapons,
and like playlist, like generally playlist weapons had like that unique weapons. The weapons in nowadays that are like the ones you get in like the seasonal or like the vendor tracks that are like not actually very good these days. But these weapons used to be like they were like curated roles and very specific weapons. They were like basically exotic light was what I was kind of calling them at the time,
and they ruined the game.
They ruined the game because they were very strong, very strong weapons because they were legendaries. Of course, the classic mountaintop recluse. That was like the
very
lineage,
interesting pool of weapons to choose from.
Lineage of those weapons, and again, I think we talked about it in an episode or two ago. That the Today in Destiny website that pulls like API stuff. It's Eververse stuff, so I usually don't get too much into leaks here on the show, but it's Eververse,
kind
so
of spoilery.
Eververse like kind of is pretty open, and they able to see in future weeks coming up, conveniently weeks into April and May, that some of the guns that have skin or like previously had like those like unique ornaments you could get are going to be up for Bright Dust. And one of them is the Recluse SMG, which I would very much fall into this camp. I believe Luna's Howl also had one, and then there's also the Hammerhead, which is from the Black Armory, which is a machine gun. So that was a pretty that's a pretty popular one. A lot of the Black Armory weapons are very popular, so I would imagine those might be in this group as well. So yeah,
imagine a random drop pool Recluse.
Yeah,
again,
pretty
with
wild.
The little Crucible sight, potentially Master of Arms, just as a perk coming back and being enhanceable. If presumably all of these brave weapons are enhanceable, like the other ones they added with the new patch,
assume
right?
So. Either craftable or enhanceable in some way, shape, or form. Yeah, that'd be pretty wild. Another one that's like it's in the key art, and that was also in another screenshot. Is it looks like Fallen Guillotine is also getting updated with new roles. I'm assuming it'll have new roles and perks, but it is clearly like in the screenshot it is way more. It's in the TWAB specifically. It's way more evident because it's like straight up the big rectangle, and all the lights on it are all bright purple. So I'm assuming it is very much Fallen Guillotine with new updated roles and perks. So that's pretty cool. So seen a couple weapons, but clearly there's more to show off.
We'll see them all, presumably.
I'm sure, they'll we'll see if they have all new perks. I'm sure they'll have some new perks maybe in those
Origin Trade at least.
In Origin Trade, yeah. So like there'll be some stuff. I'd be curious if maybe we get like an exotic or something, but I doubt it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
I could see like maybe, because I know they talked about when they first showed Final Shape was that they talked about some classic D1 reprised like exotics were coming into the game. And that's when they showed Hothead, and we ended up getting Hothead with Season of the Wish. And then we got there was two other ones they mentioned, but I'm forgetting them in my head.
Yeah, I don't remember either.
But
the new trace rifle, that would be like the Traveler Beam, which would be cool.
Yeah,
that's like the only one that I remember that will be in the final shape. But like, I'm hyped for that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I think the other one was like a sniper rifle that like fired like a golden gun shot. I think they mentioned that, but I'm sure they will very much be final shape exotics.
And the healing auto rifles, just judging by how they talked about stuff after the fact, it sounds like that will be like a special ammo auto rifle.
Okay, that makes sense.
Which makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. But yeah, that's cool. So we'll have to see if maybe they'll pull like another D1 exotic out of the vault, or maybe they'll pull one of those ones that I think they originally had planned for Final Shape, just throw it into this pool for people to go get. I could see them doing that. So yeah, we'll see. Again, like this is, you listen to this podcast probably the day after this, we'll get that stream. Again, yeah, and I have the TWAB here. This is what they said. What will be? It was Brave Arsenal weapons, a new social space plus new rewards, and a Destiny 2 Year 1 inspired armor set and more. So I think that the Year 1 armor is probably the one we've seen like in the key art and some of the screenshots. Like, yeah, great, really cool armor set. Again, I guess we can do our prediction here of what we think this social space is going to be. Is it the D1 tower, Auri O'Neil?
It's gotta be. It's gotta be. Because like, think about they are. We know that is like the starting point of the Pale Heart destination.
Yep.
So like presumably they remade all those assets for that. And I know, like you and I both know, certainly, like we can suspect pretty like certainly that they are working on getting 0 Hour back into the exotic playlist, the exotic mission playlist,
for sure.
So that is also those assets, and they're remaking all of that, I'm sure, for the engine updates that they've done. So like if they have all of those, it's more economic to time and development time, like to like have those already made so we can make the social space again. I don't think it'd be really cool if it was a full featured tower, right, where we could go to Zavala and Ikora and all that there as well, and they're just in both places. We don't have to fucking think about it too hard, just so that way there's a little variety of where you want to land. But I just like, if they're doing all this stuff for the Final Shape, and this is like the lead in, and it's like we're pulling on nostalgia, we're bringing back Recluse potentially, right? Like it makes so much sense to be like, let's just have fun with the nostalgia, let's bring it back. If we already have the assets, especially, like it just that makes the most sense to me. What else could it fucking be? I really don't know.
Yeah, it's gonna be the where were the awoken people in Destiny 2 or Destiny 1? Like they were in that weird.
Oh my
like,
god, the reef, dude! Are you kidding me? Could you fucking imagine?
That'd be really funny.
Mara's throne with like the fallen slaves around, like absolutely not the vibe anymore. Barracks in the corner, like yes, Guardian.
It's whatever. They put me back here. It's all. They only had a few months. Please understand. They only a few months to put us together. Help.
Please, Guardian, you must understand. He still has fucking Europa bounties on him. Like, what the fuck do you want, dude?
It's so sad. I don't want to go back here. I don't want to do these bounties again. God,
absolute
that'd be
emotional damage.
That'd be hilarious.
That would be hilarious.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm generally with you. I don't think it'll like with you. I don't think it's gonna be the full tower. That's where I'm
probably
landing.
Not. The speakers there.
Yeah, because like
back from the grave.
Honestly, even I would go as far as to say like I expect maybe just. Not even like the full space. I just expect maybe like
just like the courtyard.
Yeah, like area. The courtyard or like some chunk of it. Because like all we know is like Shax is the vendor, and like I think it'd just be a lot of work to do in the time frame to like make him as the vendor, and then return every other vendor to like their known spots within that tower space. Again. This could be like like you said, like it could be like a one. They could do this now, and then like when we get to like like into the first episode or later, then it becomes like the full thing, and we're back in it, and it's full proper thing over time. Maybe they could do that. Like I don't know. Like I just see it being maybe like a portion of it, and them just being like, hey, we're in here. Like, hey, yep, this is the thing. Well, they'll play the music, and there it is. And everybody will be like, "Oh my god, we're in the courtyard!" And Shax will be there, and he'll say some shit, and then that'll be like the opening of it. And like I think we'll get at least like a chunk of it. I just don't see like the the entirety of it being
not
back.
the whole thing, not like the hangar,
The hangar,
like
and then like
the West Gardens or whatever.
Like maybe those areas will come like later, and as like we can progress through, and like maybe it'll be like a new Helm, where like in a couple seasons, like this section, we'll go to the D1 tower, and then for like an episode story bit, and like in a later episode, another section of it will open with like a new section of it or something like that.
Yeah, because we don't need the Helm anymore in theory, right? Not that you don't need this podcast, like and subscribe, but
seriously.
Thank you for your support. We love you. But like, conceptually, we wouldn't need the Helm as like our kind of mobile operations because we're no longer like fighting this war in theory. But like also, what if it's the Iron Temple?
just go hang out with the Iron
Shaxx
Lord.
Isn't even there.
Yeah, it's just cabal, some cabal, and the Iron Lord's back in there. Just like, hey,
fucking Saladin hanging out.
Whatever, I don't know.
Title's a new vendor, and all she sells is bounties.
They're bringing back Io. You can go back and hang out with Ashamir.
But we're not bringing back the Pyramidians. Stop asking.
Shut up. Yeah.
Fuckers.
Pain. But yeah, I'm expecting just like some portion of it, and like we'll get a little bit of the D1 Tower nostalgia, and you'll be able to go hang out there with Shaxx, and he'll say some stuff, and you'll be like, "Oh, look at this place! Look at I remembered." And I think that
vault terminals are there.
Yeah, they could probably put the vault in like the postmaster that working there again. I could see like that, but like making it like 1-to-1 what it was in Destiny 1.
That's not my expectation.
I don't see that already. At least like in this update, like maybe they get there down the road and like with some couple updates or something, or maybe you finish the Final Shape campaign and then like you have like the D2 moment, but you like land in the D1 tower and like, oh, we're back and everybody's together, and like they could pull that moment, and I think people would be that would get a lot of people pretty good if they did something like that. So we'll see. Again, we don't have too much longer to wait on that. So that would be cool to see. Let's see.
Yeah, it's nice to get another like proper social space that presumably that people will use, right? Like Helm is like a private social space, and I like the Helm a lot. I love how it's changed over the 3 years that we've had it and stuff. And the tower has been the tower forever. Like it's not changed, save for like at the beginning of Lifehole when they added a tree. That was it.
That's like the biggest. I think that's like the biggest update it's gotten. Besides, like the one time they put like a crack in the wall because of like one of the live events or something like a while ago. Like that's like the two smallest things that's like have happened to the tower. But yeah, that's. I'm curious, how it'll feel with like two proper social spaces that I assumingly will be permanent. Oh wait, we didn't bring up the farm is back. Actually, it turns out the farm is back.
It's already back.
It's already back.
Season of Defiance.
But
now it's back again, motherfuckers.
Now you can go play soccer, everybody.
You can go play soccer.
That's it.
Mithrax is hiding in the basement, baby. Let's fucking go.
Yeah, Mithrax is there. He's not going to give you anything for the quest. He's just like, oh yeah, I'm just here. I don't know.
Yeah, 0 Hour isn't back yet. But don't worry.
Give us like a couple more months. Come on. But yeah, that's like largely like what we know for Into Light so far.
You want to talk about this Ghostbusters stuff?
Yeah, we got the Ghostbusters crossover stuff where we got a ghost that looks like Slimer from Ghostbusters. There's a Ecto 1. Is that the car?
Yeah,
I don't fucking
crushed it.
I don't fucking know Ghostbusters that well, but that's like the car. It's a car. It's a Ghostbusters car. It's a ship, and then they made some weird sparrow that I think is supposed to be something from the new movie that they made a Ghostbusters movie. Greg Miller, hey man, happy for you, buddy.
Hey, I'm glad you came back just for this.
He logged into Destiny 2 for probably like 10 minutes to buy the purchase.
Spent
those
$20.
Things. He's probably like one of the only people who's going to do this.
It's him and Jake, our friend Jake, that bought the fucking Ghostbusters Ecto 1 shit.
Perfect. I love that. We got that this week as well, I believe. So I'm sure we'll see weird little tie-ins like that because I think like that was probably very much a Sony thing to say that because we knew the movies like out and this dropped at the same time. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see other weird little things like that here and there going forward.
Seems to be how they're like helping to make a little money like from these overpriced crossover cosmetic things.
That's the hope, right? Is that's they gotta make their money somehow. As you know, it seems like Final Shape is I think this Into the Light stuff is going to build up a little bit more hype again because I think I saw a lot of people pretty excited about it. But it is that thing of like with Final Shape, it's like it's got to be really challenging to like try and get new people to be like, yeah, come check out the Final Shape, the end of this thing. Like you can't really pitch it to like a new audience of players. So like you have to really be able to draw in the crowd of Destiny. That's who they need to get back in their lane right now is that. And I think they're getting there. I think overall there's been a lot of positive changes to the game, and with this Into the Light thing, I think will be a big one. And then of course the PvP maps soon after that.
I think is going to be a big deal as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think those two kind of things coming up in the next months leading into this. And I think like, they told us in April, we're going to get the kind of re-reveal of the Final Shape. So I'm assuming that's going to be pretty soon after this. And I think that's going to be hopefully a big moment as well, where like whatever new things we have not seen that they've been working on for the Final Shape, I think people are going to be, hopefully that's going to, get people stoked about.
Yeah, and there'll be like good momentum because we're getting these 3 streams, and then that Tuesday after the 3rd stream, Onslaught will be in the game. And it seemed like, I'm not sure, but the way they were talking about it, there's some story aspects to this as well.
Yeah.
Like week over week story aspects to it.
Okay.
And like there is a 3rd stream. If they're talking about guns and armor this week in a new social space, and they talked about the mode itself last week, like I assume there must be something. There's got
to be something else they haven't talked about, like maybe some bigger sandbox changes they maybe have talked about but haven't really shown us, like maybe like some other big things, because I know they talked about like weapon and like we know like the weapon enhancing stuff is coming, but I can't remember. I think they did say in that when they brought that up, that'd be with the Final Shape. So maybe that's not it, but maybe like maybe there's like some other like updates that they'll do to some of the classes or stasis. I know stasis was like a big rework that's supposed to be happening. Or not like rework, but like updates to the subclasses and stuff.
Yeah, the frozen mail or whatever.
Yeah.
And presumably if there is story, maybe that would be the time to talk about it when we're kind of closest to it. So then, Onslaught comes out that week. I imagine like the way to like set it up and knock it down would be like the week right after that is, hey, this is the re-reveal. This is the Vidoc. This is the other new things that we've added because we thought, what we talked about before wasn't enough, or maybe there was just more that they hadn't talked about yet. So they said like they're keeping stuff close to the chest that we just don't know about yet.
I'm sure there's a lot of stuff, because I know there was like the whole like Pathfinder stuff they showed at some point very early when they first showed kind of Final Shape, and like have not heard anything about that again since
the
that.
UI changes.
So like UI updates and changes, like a lot of that stuff I'm curious about, like where that stuff is going to land. So we'll have to see. But presumably a lot more stuff to talk about in these coming weeks. I don't know if there was anything else to talk about though on this episode. Shorter episode, but hey. I guess one of the things they talked about is I feel like they like rarely ever do this, but we have 20% off silver for 1 week.
Really?
For 1 week, they said beginning March 26th. So that is going to be starting this week. This week 2 of the dev streams, and when the day after this podcast goes up, and it'll go through till April 2nd. So silver packages will be discounted by 20%. That's in the TWAP. So there you go. I feel like I don't feel like they've ever done that before.
I don't think they've ever done it.
I could be wrong, but like I feel like
speaks to the financial vibe though.
Yeah. Because they're trying to like make some stuff, and
Yeah, I'll get
that
that.
stuff.
I might make some bad decisions. I got some Witcher armor that I've been looking at for like 3.5 months, my friend.
There you go. That's true. Yeah, get that a little cheaper. So yeah, don't blame anybody. I'll be curious to see if anybody does take advantage of that for the 20% off. But yeah, that's Destiny 2 for this week. Thanks everybody as always for listening. On podcast services or watching us on Helm to Tower, youtube.com/Helm to Tower. I guess other little housekeeping things. I mean, there's not really that much because like a lot of the other games I'm hoping to cover on the channel alongside Destiny stuff in the future are still kind of quiet. Zenless Zone Zero is one I'm hoping to get into. There's a third closed beta that is going to happen, I think, sometime in April. I'm hoping to get into that. We'll see if I can get into that or not. If not, oh well. And like I think that's like largely the one that I know has recently gotten updates. But thanks everybody, again for watching and hanging out here on the channel. Feel free to like and subscribe. Go ahead.
If you're craving other video game content, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth spoiler review discussion is coming. Scott White, my partner in podcasting for that, is at PAX, is in Boston right now. But when he gets back, we're gonna try and do that.
Heck
and then you and I are teaming up with Jared Green to talk about Dragon's Dogma.
That's right.
Once we've put a few hundred hours into it.
Yeah, once we've finished it, but probably also have not finished it.
We'll does it ever truly end? You know?
Yeah, exactly. We'll have to see. But yeah, we'll over on our main channel, youtube.com/Irrational Passions or Irrational Passions Presents. That's the podcast feed for that usually.
Both of those will be up there. Yeah.
Oh, excuse me. Jeez.
Gesundheit.
Thank you. But yeah, we'll have some fun stuff over there. Not related to Destiny to talk about soon, like that. And yeah, we'll be back with another episode probably like later this week or early following week, talking about whatever stuff we learned about in that this coming dev stream and other Destiny news that happens. So we'll see y'all then. See you next time. Bye.